So, Anand, we start with the basic of ELV system. So, what we have in the ELV system. When we talk about ELV, extra low voltage, as you understand, it's not in the standard voltage range. It goes
Yes,
in
sir.
the
Okay.
minimal voltage
Okay.
consumptions. Okay,
Yeah.
and the what ELV system deals is the multiple systems which is essentials for the communities and for the buildings and for the premises, where which is more in depth of extra low voltage based, and
Okay.
we are classifying the extra low voltage systems like access control, AV system, BMS, CCTV, GRMS, like lighting control, fire alarm system, public address structure cabling system. So
Yes,
as
sir.
you know, it's a part of MEP system. It's one of the key element of MEP. When the people are started to execute, they more focus on the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. But if they are failure in the ELV system, and you can see that the clients are feeling overcooling, undercooling, or when you specifically go for the data center, the performance of the servers and the storage is really depending on the key inside parameters like temperature, humidity, and the pressure differential.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
and
Got it.
the coolant, yeah, the coolant capacity, all are matter.
Yes,
So
sir. Yeah.
it's a very key elements like should not be like considered as a negligency in during the design
Yeah.
stage and the implementation stage as well.
Yeah. Literally, our
Especially,
yes, sir.
yeah, when we
Yes, sir.
go for
Yeah.
the data centers, so in the data centers we see that the automation, as you said, it's a key element of data center. It's not like general community buildings and office buildings where there are can the client or the consultant can decide to go only for monitoring, not
Yeah.
required to control the complete HVAC and electrical
Yeah. Yes,
plumbing
sir. Yeah.
equipments. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that is a different case in data center overall because it's a
Yeah.
crucial to keep the temperature, the parameters, temperature, humidity, and the
Yeah.
pressure and other elements as well. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and it's closely monitoring every racks. It's not only like generally we are monitoring the inside space temperature. Okay, that is
Yeah.
also a key element. So when we are
Yeah.
talking about the racks on the data centers, so racks also having the just a minute.
Crucial.
The racks also having the intelligent PDUs, so that gives all these elements and also can integrate with. And apart from that, monitoring the coolant temperature and coolant capacity, flow, and this all very important to maintain the performance of the server and the
Yeah.
storage
Okay.
devices. And yeah, when we go and we can see the architecture like a standalone, on-prem, and cloud. So when we see that the system which is not connected with anywhere is work as a standalone system, like when we say that it's connected only to the building, it doesn't have connectivity outside of the building. And when we go for on-prem also, like we have a servers and the storages and everything stored
Okay.
locally. For example, when we go with the CCTV system, we have on-prem server, on-prem in the sense on premises. So the server is connected only to the inside network, intra network,
Yeah.
and it doesn't
Yeah.
go outside.
Okay.
And the third structure is cloud based. So this is mostly nowadays it's coming up the cloud based. When you are talking about the data
Yeah.
center also, it's a
Yeah.
very crucial part in because the data centers maybe the for example when we talk about Microsoft data centers not only in one place in throughout the globe, it's in
Yeah.
different places, and it's not monitoring only in the local, so it's monitoring the centrally all connecting to the one location. Okay,
Yeah.
so the cloud based is also very crucial here. And so as you see that it's when we talk about the data center itself, it's a cloud-based solutions, right? It's
Yeah.
because different companies having the servers in data centers located in a single data center and connecting to the different premises and globally. They have different offices and globally, so they are
Okay.
connecting to the single data center and they are fetching the data. Same way,
Yeah.
the cloud is very essential now. It's coming up, so people are moving to the
Yeah.
cloud. So when we talk about on-prem and cloud, there are pros and cons you can see. and people like if they are going with some kind of military or some confidential communities and confidential premises, they do not want to expose their data, or they don't want someone to fetch the data from inside of their premises to outside. So that case
Yeah.
they go with on-prem, and some they are very very much requirement of the cloud based. Then the people are looking for cloud based solutions, like they have offices, multiple offices, and they want to monitor and centrally they connect with. So it's coming up, and all the
Sir,
most of
sorry,
the,
sir.
yeah.
Okay, sir. Sorry that, sir, this on-prem in the sense it's kind of what is actually the on-prem?
Yeah, on-prem is like, for example, I will take you to the CCTV system. So CCTV system on-prem, you have a servers locally in the building. Okay, so you have a
Okay.
separate structure for that.
Okay,
Okay,
because
so for
no, I'm thinking, okay, sorry to interrupt again. Because
for
last project I was getting for the Abu Dhabi military actually, that is in the our Mohammed bin Said city. There,
yeah,
they did they for Huawei was the data center actually for that. That's why I
okay,
want to ask because they asked to build the data center very close to the military base itself. Like you mentioned, it's
okay,
not a cloud base. That's why I asked you no difference. That's why. Okay, sir.
okay,
Okay, that's why. Okay,
okay.
sir. Okay, thank you.
So
Thank you. Okay,
So apart
okay,
from the cloud-based also, now it's coming up with hybrid. So hybrid is like partially the data stored in the premises, also partially in the cloud, or the data syncing between the prim and cloud,
okay.
like a more redundant way. If in case
Okay,
the
sir. Okay.
cloud is disconnected, also then on-prem is there. So that kind of
Okay.
solutions also coming up. So major
Okay,
difference
sir.
is
Okay.
like when you're going with on-premises, like a huge structure. For example, I will take the case of data center. So
Okay.
you have multiple servers like a building management system, and for the IT equipments, as well
Oh,
as
sir.
for
Yeah.
the CCTV. So plenty of servers are required. You got it.
Okay.
So and you have these servers, and for example, the client have data centers in multiple locations. So let's say 10 centers, 10 different
Yeah. Okay.
places. One in UAE, one in Saudi, and one in India,
Okay.
like that. So
Okay.
it's it's a really a time, there's a space occupying, so
Yeah. Okay.
when specifically when we go with the data centers, so in the data centers every square meter has a value in
Okay.
millions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Sure.
If you agree
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Yeah.
instead of you are keeping one separate room for this servers for ELV system,
Yeah.
okay, so consider like you don't require any separate room, and you consider everything in the cloud based. You got it? The
Yeah.
storage and
Okay.
everything, it's a cloud based. So that case, you can rent that space, this many square meters,
Okay. Okay.
it will become free. You don't require separate
Yeah.
MDF,
Okay.
or your MDF size will be reduced, shrinked if you are having cloud based. So that is a major advantage when you are going with the cloud based. So the only the thing is that every year subscription fee will be there, and yeah, and the benefit is like when you are having a local on-premises based storage on the server-based solutions. For example, when you are having a CCTV systems and you have 100 cameras, and you have a server for that 100 cameras in on-premises, and one fine day then you feel that you require to have additional 50 cameras, then you
Cameras.
have to look then you have to look for the local vendors to add additional 50 camera, and check the existing storage is fine, or we need to add the existing additional storage, and look for this rack sufficient space to accommodate additional storage, or you have to put additional rack, and do you have the space in the to keep the additional rack in the. So a lot of things are there when you are having on premises storage server solutions. But when you
Okay.
have cloud based, simply think like you have 100 cameras, you have additional 50 cameras, and it's in a day, within a day or within a week, they will be finalizing. They will add the storage, because it's a cloud based, so they have a storage already available. So they will accommodate. They will configure the cloud solution provider, and within 2 3 days, you will have additional 50 cameras added in the system. You got
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Something like yeah. I understand.
Yeah. So this is just I'm giving the brief about how this
That's okay.
cloud based is really advantage for the data
System.
center point of view. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So
Sir,
now
this
I
okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to say in the way that the ELV system, what the benefits it will give for the data center. This is the way I am now presenting to you, because
Yeah,
see, when
okay.
you are going for the, as I said, it's for when we are going with the communities and for residential building and office and the mixed use buildings and everything.
Yeah,
So you don't require really the cloud based unless you have a multiple different locations and client really want to
yeah.
monitor. But the data
Okay.
center is a
Yeah.
very crucial part, and cloud based is very vital, because when you are talking about BMS, so as I told you earlier, so we can have a one space temperature for the standard storage inside the building. But when we talk about the data center, every ASLC you have to monitor the temperature and the
Temperature.
humidity and the
Yeah.
leakage parameter and the differential pressure.
Yeah.
So this all every data center you might have fetching the data of thousand sensors, and each
Okay,
sensor
sir.
is very critical, and each sensor is very critical for the performance of the particular server, particular rack equipments,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
so, so that case, if you are connecting also the sensors using the wired, instead of wired, you can go with IoT based devices. Okay, so that IoT based devices can connect with centrally to the one location, all the different branches of data centers from throughout the globe can be connected
Mm-hmm.
centrally with a decentralized architecture, and monitor from the single locations. Okay,
Oh,
and
okay.
we can, the person sitting in the USA can see that what is happening in the data center in Hyderabad, and
Yeah.
why this leakage sensor is giving the alarm, or why the temperature is
Yeah.
very high. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
they can take immediate action, even the person is not looking
Physically
very
available. Yeah,
clearly.
sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that are the things, it's a benefit in the cloud based. When you go with IoT, Internet of Things based sensors, that is coming up in booming in the market. Okay, so the type of interconnected systems we have here, integrated building system, physical security information management system, and security management software. So they are calling us different names, and different names for connecting the different systems, and for the different purpose. Like when we are majorly looking for the security purpose perspective, then we have PSIM in the market, physical security
Yeah, sir.
information management. So you
Sir,
will be
I want to ask,
connecting.
sorry, sir,
Yeah,
sir, here we are using something called the EPMS, that the standard timing they are connecting the electrical side. That is what is called the EPMS. That is related to very separate, right? What is EPMS?
EPMS.
Yeah,
Okay, EPMS. It's might be the electrical power
normal.
monitoring system, or
Yeah, yeah, kind of electrical because the standard team, all the UPM, entire our projects, they are separately connecting, like it's parallelly, they told all the mechanical activity they're connecting like a BMS. The same thing
yeah.
for electrical side, they are collecting the data and storing parallelly from they are controlling the entire electrical system based on the EPMS. That is different system. EPMS is.
It's basic. Yeah, it's more oriented to the electrical, as you said.
It's kind of electrical. Okay, okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
more about the power and electrical power
The
generation monitoring, and
yeah,
yeah.
it's okay. Control all
So
systems. Okay.
it's mostly into the power management system. So there we
Okay,
have
okay.
a role of BMS is like you are
Limited, right?
monitoring. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have a
okay.
PMU meters, and
Uh,
you have other meters and other breakers and other stuffs you are wiring and monitoring closely.
yeah, okay. Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
So when we talk about EPMS, it's a part of BMS. In the longer perspective, the huge perspective, BMS is a big in system. And
Okay,
when
okay,
we
sir.
talk
Okay.
about EPMS, it's specifically for the
Different.
electrical based.
Only for
Okay,
the exclusively for the electrical monitoring
electrical.
device.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Okay, okay, sir. Thanks, sir. Okay, okay.
You have a different, like here also you have what you say, in Abu Dhabi, you might know that STDAMA requirements.
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So STDAMA, if you want to have the Pearl system, for Pearl system, depending on the Pearl system, the electricity unit rate will be
Yeah,
varies.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
one
that I
pole
can
or two
understand.
pole, three pole.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay, okay. No, here
okay,
what they're doing is what I'm saying is based on the standard team is there. The sky because in this current project that I'm working, that this kind of team also reporting to the BMS. In our project, we used to have a superintendent for BMS. He is
Yeah,
working under them only. They are reporting to them only.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they are the team physically controlling the they are putting some TMS sensors, different sensor in the each
Correct.
UPMs, each UMS, URS actually. There, wherever the cables are, they are putting some sensors. Based on the
Yeah.
sensor, they're communicating and they're checking and they're putting a program and they're and relating that to the system. That's what I have. Okay, sir. Okay. I
Yeah.
understand now.
So
Okay, okay.
it's like when we talk about BMS, it's like it will be for complete MEP system monitoring and control.
Mechanical, yeah, yeah,
And
okay.
specifically in very detailed section when we go with the data centers and this
It's
one.
kind of
So you
okay,
have
okay, for
EPMS.
HV.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of HV side. Mostly on the HV side, they're fully following. Okay, sir. Okay.
So the EPMS will be like a very detailed section, and
Setup. Okay, sir. Okay.
they might have a
Okay, okay.
more focus on the electrical power, and they will be
Okay.
reporting. Of course, they will be reporting on integrated with the BMS, since the
Okay,
BMS
okay.
will be coming in the top of the
Yeah, yeah, all people.
EPMS.
Yeah, yeah. The entire
Okay.
now because now we are in currently in the before IST, so entire system is controlled with the EMS only. Okay, sir. I
Yeah.
understand that.
And
Thank you, sir.
also,
Thank you.
I want to tell you here,
Yeah,
when we are talking about, as I was continuing with Estidama,
yeah, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
Estidama
Yeah.
recommend is there for monitoring the every DBs, SMDBs, and there are DBs,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
you
Okay.
have a PMUs connected, and this PMUs is, and they have some standard dashboard. So that
Okay.
dashboard will gives what is the power consumption of every hourly basis, every daily
Okay.
basis, and every monthly basis,
Okay.
and
Okay.
these reports are going to the government, and
Okay.
the government is taking the reports also, and locally also people
Okay.
monitoring. And so the people can see that which day the consumption is more, and
I understand,
which,
sir. Okay.
so it will give that like a power and data
Output.
they have differentiation of, okay, the data,
Okay.
the electrical sockets, how much consumption is happening, and other
Okay. Yes,
appliances.
sir.
Okay, the AC, how much power is consuming,
Okay.
energy,
The
what is
running
the
hours.
energy?
I understand. Yeah,
So like
running hours.
hourly,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
I understand.
So
Okay, sir. Okay.
hourly and hourly, daily, and weekly, monthly.
Budget.
So this dashboard gives, okay, this particular month, or this particular week, or this particular day, and this particular hour, this power consumption is very peak. Then we
Yeah, I
will
understand.
analyze why this peak, why this consumption is more. Either the
Okay.
socket was used by the some what you say, interior decorative people for the using the
Okay.
drilling machine. Continuously they use
Okay.
the drilling machine, this socket. So this they can analyze, and the objective of that is to reduce the power consumption.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Understand. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And in the
Okay, sir.
data center also, it applies the same. It's not only
Okay.
that saving the energy, also in the data center, it's a crucial part to monitor the pulse of the electricity,
Yes,
when
sir.
you
Yeah. Sir.
like, just like the human pulse you are checking, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
vital things. So it's
Yeah.
very important for the data center, because it's a, you
The
cannot say
conception.
that
Yeah.
if,
The
yeah,
entire conception. Okay.
yeah,
I understand.
yeah, if the power is failure and unknown reasons are, so they have to mitigate, and they have to take action before something happen, so that's why
Yes,
the
sir. Okay.
crucial
Okay.
part of EPMS is there in the data centers.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay,
And
sir. Okay.
when we talk about latest technologies here, you have artificial intelligence, IoT, cyber security,
Okay.
and it's very important. This all three as the last point for the data center. Okay,
Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay.
because artificial intelligence is very much required in nowadays. It's beyond the humans' knowledge and the skill level. This artificial intelligence based software and the solutions, what it does, it just present like, let's say like you have a huge data center, it's coming thousands of sensors. The person,
Yeah.
human eye, cannot monitor the thousands of sensors and can
So,
get
yeah.
the insights of what's going to happen, but
Yes, sir.
artificial
Okay.
intelligence based solution, it's the solution of the computer itself. It's taking it's analyzing the parameters and gives pop-up, and it gives the insights, and it gives the preventive measures before something happen,
Yes,
so
sir.
that's
Okay.
beyond our knowledge. And it's the human, like when the data comes, the data is in millions of
Yeah.
sensors.
Okay. Yeah.
So AI is having a very vital role, and in the internet
In
of
the
things
upcoming.
also.
Yeah, sure.
Internet of Things, the sensors, when you are comparing the sensors, hardware sensors, so IP-based sensors. So the importance of the IP-based sensor, Internet of Things, is very vital now, and people really understand where there is a crucial and very important premises where small changes in the parameters will make a big impact. Definitely, the people go with IoT. Like when we go with the some petroleum industries and some critical industries, critical infrastructures. Definitely, they are looking for the IoT based for
Yes,
long
yes,
signal
exactly.
transmission, And cyber
Okay.
security, as you see that it's a very essential now it's coming up with because there should not be any cloning or so they do the pen test and ensure that its cyber security compliance is there and the international standards are there and so the companies are following now the cyber security more like even the ELV based systems they are complying and they are doing the test every month and like they are updating their firmwares and everything to ensure that the data leaking is you know uh, uh, prevented.
Crucial part. Yeah, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So who has to learn the ELV system? It's of course the investor has to know. It's not a small peanuts. It looks like a peanut system compared to the complete
Yeah. Mechanical
system,
system,
but
yeah, the
it's
system, but
that
the
peanut
core
system will
integrity
make
is,
a big,
yeah,
yeah, big
yeah,
impact. Yes.
everything,
Yeah.
everything
So
is
the
in this shop,
same,
yeah.
the consultant also, the consultant should not have standard specifications going for 10 years and 15 years, the same specifications. The consultant has to learn as well and update their specifications based on the local complaints and international complaints and
Yeah.
based on the latest trends and technologies. It's not like when we see that sometime the specifications is 5 years old, then the technology is revolved more than what that specification is asking for. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
essential for the consultant to understand the latest technologies and because it's a major crucial part as well as in the data center. And the main conductor, MEP conductor, ELV specialist, graduates who are passionate about to learn new systems are them that they have to look for the ELV system to learn.
Yes, sir.
So as you see, the ELV system requirements, as I don't want to go much in details, you can see that it's a part of
Yes, sir.
MEP package and
Yeah.
tender documents are part of ELV package, ELV tender also. And you have a
Yeah.
specification, single line diagram, shop drawings, schedules,
Yeah.
like you have IO point schedule or the BOQ of the systems, local
Yeah.
guidelines, norms, and international standards. So fifth or sixth points is very, very, very important when we
Crucial
are
part.
going
Yes,
like,
sir. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yes,
have to
sir.
follow the local guidelines and norms as well as the international standards. Okay, so if you are not complying with that, and definitely once all the work is completed, you will not get the local authority approval.
We do stuck
Okay,
accordingly. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Okay.
So this all should be taken care when we do the design. And
Yeah, okay, sir.
challenges in the design and clarification by RFI, when you have a specification where the outdated or you have a tender BOQ on the tender specification, there is not matching each other and some difference is there, or so that you can raise the RFI to get the confirmation which one we need to go with. Because sometimes the consultant specification will be very tricky that it will state some very old technology, but the BOQ asking
Uh,
for the latest technology. So price-wise, there will be a huge difference. So price is a very vital part in
yeah,
the design
yeah, of
part.
course. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So clarification on the scope with connector and consultant is also very important because once you started to implement and finally they will come up and they say that why don't you consider the integration of this and why don't you have integration of
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
ELV packages? Okay,
This should
but
be
maybe the
confirmed.
specification asking for something else. Yeah,
Yeah. Anandam said itself, you have the clarity. We get Anandam.
correct.
We need to get it done clearly. Yeah.
Because throughout the project phase, it's the design phase is not completing in the beginning of the project initiation stage itself. So
Yeah.
even the project is started and project implementation team is in place. So design work is not completed. So design is completed until the project handover is take
Yeah.
done.
It's kind of a evolving. Every
Yeah,
stage it's kind
because
of
there will
evolving.
be a
Yeah.
change request in the during the project progressing stage. Changes request will come.
Uh,
So let's say sometime you will have a $1 million project value. and you get half a million in the during the project implementation stage.
Yeah,
Why? Because of
exactly.
there is a loophole in design in the beginning that consultant or the client not taker, or maybe the during the handing over phase before that the standards are revised, the local and international standards, and they want to follow the standard, and the client is
Yeah,
requirement is changed, you know, or
yeah.
maybe you have
Basically, exactly.
some empty spaces when you plan for the data centers. There are some empty spaces in the for the racks for the future expansion, but during the execution time, it's already the requirement is increased, and you are adding the additional racks for the additional storage devices. So then your parameters and the temperature monitoring and your CCTV requirement and other requirements are increasing, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is just so findings on the site survey is also very vital here, because sometimes it's drawing states something, tender drawing states something, and tender specification states something, and some it will not have a complete insights as when we go to the site survey before the bidding stage, you have a different view and different understanding other than the tender specification tender view only, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
essential for the site survey also before we start a bidding for the project. So this is just
Okay.
a small structure, physical security information system. You have a server and hot standby server. So our standby server take over when the server fail over within seconds, and this is like a video wall solutions to the surveillance systems. And you have a fire alarm system and intruder alarm
Yeah.
system, CCTV, access control, intercom, PA. So this is most of the things is related to the physical security information structure.
Exactly.
And standalone system, as I said, it's connected to the single, and there is no any connectivity of going outside. So our standby, you have a multiple systems, and you have a server and our standby servers. So as I mentioned there, it's if your one server is failure, and before that the our standby server take over. So this is a server and our standby with the location based. So each locations you have a standby and our standby servers. So this is another example. And when we go for the access control system, you have we will share this slides to you, Anand,
Okay, sir.
so
Okay.
you can go
Okay,
to
sir.
that. So you
Okay.
aware about the access control. So this all uh, who and which and what, that is what access control, as I mentioned here. Who
Okay.
access which doors and what time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
access control is that's it only. Nothing else is there in measure.
Okay.
So who
Okay.
access and what doors they can access and what time they can access, all can be configured. And here also server
Okay.
based and our standby server is there. Cloud based solutions also there, and licensing
Okay.
schemes also there for the reader. So how many readers based? The software also goes from enterprise versions to the corporate versions. You know,
Okay.
so the capacity of the system based on the software also they have the manufacturers and the vendors have different levels of softwares. As I mentioned,
Okay,
that
sir.
corporate level, enterprise level, or basic
Okay.
level softwares.
Okay.
And the selection of controllers also vital part here. You have a master slave controllers. Like if you are in the single premises, you can go with a master slave. But if the client and consultant is looking for IP based solution, then all the controllers should have IP based controllers. There should not be a master slave concept to avoid, because the
Okay.
slave master and slave controllers, as you see, as the name states, that master actually give the commands to the slave. Okay, so slave doesn't have any brain. Understand?
Okay.
So in case
Uh,
of the slave is failure, so complete doors connected to the slave is failure. Okay,
failure.
we
Okay.
cannot,
Okay.
we are out of control.
Okay.
Okay, so when we talk about the data center, it's essential to consider IP based solutions. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
so
Continuous. Okay.
it's depending on the specification. You know, IP-based
Yeah.
controllers. So every controller individually works. Every controller has a master, like a two-door master controller. So the two doors will be to one IP controller, another two door to another IP controller. Okay. So
Okay.
and integration with the CCTV system, and also it's very essential because, for example, the data center in the some locations that sometime the person also accessing it should not be accessed, or is like something suspicious is happening when they are trying to open the door, like the visitor is
Okay.
opening the trying to access that door. So
Okay.
visitor is accessing the door, then immediately the CCTV system is popping up. So there should be
Okay.
integration is required. You got it. So
Yeah, sir,
integration of
look at
CCTV and access control is also a vital part. And the reader technology is improving now. So as the security implies some, so now it's when we go with the vegan, so the vegan readers with the latest the old technologies, it's easy to clone. So to avoid that cloning happens, some we are going for the latest technology, voice DP based solutions, and also for the
Okay.
easiness, they have NFC based, Bluetooth based mobile based credentials are there. Now mobile wallet
Okay.
also there in the Apple
Okay.
and Samsung mobile wallet. The technologies are in such a way that you can have the your credentials in your wallet. Then you can
Okay.
show that credentials to the card reader, and it will give the access to you.
That is also okay.
And the fourth point also very important for the data center perspective. You have to go with a low smoke, zero halogen cable. Okay. So when we are talking about the indoor cables, indoor cables have the outer sheath of the cable is PVC jacket. Okay, a material
Okay.
of PVC. And low smoke, zero halogen is, as the name implies, that it doesn't give impact on during the fire stage. It will not explode the fire or aggravate the fire. Okay. So you must have choose the cables of low smoke zero halogen for access control, BMS, and whatever the systems you are using with the outer sheath should be low smoke zero halogen. And if you are going for the outside of the buildings, PE jackets. So
Okay.
come to the point of door locks. Door locks also we have to see the suitable door locks depending on the size of the weight of the door and the type of the
Okay.
mechanism. Is you require mortise locks or magnetic locks. So that's also
Okay.
matter. And fire alarm system also. So it's also very crucial part here, integration with fire alarm system. So some are fail safe and fail secure doors. So you should have in case of any fire occurs, there should be the doors to evacuate, and there are
Okay.
the doors should be secured. So it has to be configured in such a way that the secure door should not be accessible for anyone during the fire conditions. Okay.
Okay. Sir, you raised a question. This
Yeah,
cause and effect also will be coming here only. Cause and
cause and
effect
effect matrix. Yeah, cause and effect matrix
will
also
also will
states
be
about
present on the
the fail
fire
safe.
alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, fire separate. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So cause and effect matrix also states that which are the fail safe and fail secure doors.
Yeah. Okay. Because
Okay.
when I see this
So
fail safe, I only cause and effect is coming to mind. Okay, sir. Okay. Okay.
So the
Okay, sir.
zone wise fire alarm signals you will be getting. So based on
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
the zone wise and the door wise, and the doors
Okay.
also will be having the mechanism is like fail safe and fail secure. Okay,
Okay, sir.
conditions.
Okay,
So
sir.
you have to choose the locks also depending on that. Integration with the
Uh,
CCTV BMS also very vital here. And building
okay,
management
sir.
system, as you said, that in the data center point of view, every parameters
Your
are
file
vital
schedules.
here. Every
Yeah.
rack we have to monitor. Every rack, the temperature has to be maintained and pressure has to be maintained. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are the major things. As I open this, you can see, right, the drawing.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, this is for the simple one data center. So the data center is connecting to monitoring the temperature and the pumps and plumbing systems
Okay.
and DX units. So when you have a DX
Okay.
units, you will have a BACnet or LoanWorks connectivity and leakage reduction. It's a very essential also for the data centers. Okay,
Okay.
so you have to
Sir, for
maintain.
example, sir, sorry, like in
Yeah,
my current project, I'm trying to say, like we are facing some issues. For example, for the fans, actually, the
fans.
fan
Okay.
starter panel, yeah, fan. We will be connecting the BMS integration with the BMS with the starter panel only, right?
Yeah, correct.
The start, yeah, the starter panel. Like, what issues we faced was like earlier in the IO summary, they agreed for on and off all this functioning. Later stage, they accountable to when the starter panel came, the installation also completed. But later they find out there was a that our starter panel which we procured was not supporting the IO summary actually.
Okay,
Then
so
we got, yeah, like we got some, like I mentioned earlier, we got some commercial issues back with the supplier, and they
okay.
modified the site itself, the software panel with the PLC programming. That is also It's kind of old one and the latest one. They send some starter panel exclusively for integrating with the BMS actually.
Okay, when we are talking about the starter panel, so
Okay.
you might have the parameters to hardware parameters, I believe, so for the
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
So you will have a start stop command and monitoring the
Yeah.
status, run trip
Uh,
status, and
yeah. Yeah. Same exactly. Yeah, sir. Okay. Okay.
and off auto status you will be monitoring.
Yeah.
And you will have a
Yeah.
start stop command. You will have the relay. So if the provision
Yeah.
is not there, they can add the additional modules, additional electrical breakers, and with the pole like a single pole, double pole throw relays. So it's they can do the modification in the site itself
Yeah.
if they
Okay.
have
That's
space.
space
Okay.
actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No,
If they
my
doesn't have the
perspective
space, yeah.
says you have to be. My
Yeah.
perspective as a like in the lesson learned in future, I need to be very precautionary to what to check. What I'm trying to ask is like as now I know exactly where I face a problem in this current project. In my
Yeah.
current next upcoming project, I want to be ensured that that should not be impact so that I can I can utilize that in advance. For example, before charter paneling ordering itself, I should be ensuring all this whether this IO summary is complying in the charter panel itself. That's what I need to check, right? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
but
sir.
you are into the consultant or you are into the contractor?
And basically conductor actually.
You
Basically,
are
I
contractor,
see
right? Okay. So
main
what
conductor actually, main conductor. Yeah, okay.
Okay, basically what happens then you are a main contractor, you get from the
Yeah,
electrical panel supplier. So that electrical
yeah,
panel supplier will have a detailed diagram, control schematic of
yeah, okay.
complete starter panels.
Uh,
So that
okay,
complete starter panel will have some sections or some pages describing what are the volt-free contacts, what are the relay
okay,
contacts for connecting with the
okay,
fire, connecting with the BMS. Okay, so this is
okay,
very essential. So before the erect the panel, okay, before
okay,
the do the
okay.
factory acceptance test, so the make the preliminary design and the design has to be go to the consultant from the
Approval,
contractor.
upper approval. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I understand.
so
Oh, even
the,
that's why no,
it's a
here we did
responsibility of
everything.
both. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah. What
responsibility
about
of both
no
main contractor and the consultant to
consultant?
ensure
But that's
that
not
whatever the
issue.
parameters asked in the BMS IO schedule or
Okay.
whatever the additional relay required to connect with the fire alarm system or connecting with some CO based control
CO-based
system.
sensors are
Yeah,
okay, okay, okay.
so this has to be, that's why the requirement is like here, when we talk about it's a peanuts and we think that this is a peanut package
Yeah, yeah.
compared to our, so we
Literally,
may,
this
yeah,
entire Microsoft project was rolled up. All this because they thought it's a minor.
correct,
Because now this was a hassle. Now
yeah,
the entire project was stopped. Means in mechanically all system was correct. But when
correct,
compared to BMS related activity, they can't able to move forward actually. Okay, okay.
yeah,
I understand now. Okay, okay.
yeah,
So again, now you mentioned again, okay, control based, right? Like even
correct,
for example, for the battery rooms and all there will be a separate sensors going to come, right? For example, for the battery room, they need to go into carbon dioxide, they'll say no, detection system, no? Carbon dioxide sensors should be there, right? Carbon dioxide
uh,
sensors
so
in
the
the
fans
battery
you're
room.
talking, the battery
Yeah,
room
yeah, yeah,
fan.
battery room pump. Yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, there is a different parameters is there. The battery room, you might have the temperature based
The
and
CO sensor.
also
Okay,
yeah, and
okay,
also you have when we are going for the battery room, you will have a PMUs for you will have a battery room means you will have a separate DB, dedicated DB, yeah. So that
yes, sir, yeah.
dedicated DB, that DB comes with the PMU meters. Okay, so that
Okay,
PMU meters has to be integrated with the BMS. Okay,
PMS.
so
Okay, okay, okay.
the DB comes with the temperature element,
Sensor.
thermistor, some kind of
Okay,
thermistor or
okay.
something, lead temperature
Yeah, and for
sensor.
us, yeah, the CO sensor, they said like a carbon dioxide sensors are there. Their level
Yeah.
was as per our IO summary and our sequence of operation. They given some sensor if it's
PPM,
more than the DPM, yeah, and that
yeah, some
if it's more than
200
100
ppm
ppm,
or
if it's
something. Yeah,
120 ppm is the
correct,
prerequisite that they given. 120
correct.
ppm if the it's going level that fan supposed to activate. If it's
Yeah,
not,
correct.
it's supposed to be that's what. Okay, sir. Okay, that will
Yeah,
be
Okay.
coming. That's
just
what.
one correction. No?
Okay, sir. Yeah,
In
okay.
battery room, it is not a carbon dioxide, it is a hydrogen sensor.
Okay, sir. Okay. Battery
I
room here. Okay, sir. Okay, 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 sir. Okay, okay. That's what also I want to ask, sir. Like that sequence of operation, actually here also that was defined by our BMS team only. That also it's a crucial part, right? Because now in the final stage, with that sequence of operation, and they are telling DOO, like a description of operation. First, they submitted the sequence of operation based on the IFC, and they are telling something called a DOO. It's kind of a descriptions of operation. Is it same?
okay.
Is a common terminology in BMS, sir? Sequence
Uh,
SOO and DOO.
yes, OO, DOO. What you mean? The sensors you're talking
Yeah,
about?
no, no, no. SOO in the sense sequence of operation. It's the
Okay,
kind of the sequence of operation for the entire
okay,
BMS system. You know, like
okay.
that is
But
the like
okay,
IO
that's
summary,
what is DOO?
and they are telling description of operation, like a sequence descriptions of operation, like the description of operation, like that they're telling.
So it's the
That is
same only.
actually
I don't think so any difference. Sequence of so common terms the people are using SOW,
okay, just
SOO.
okay, okay.
Okay,
I understand. For like potato. What they told is for me because practically I want first time I'm hearing DOO. What they told me was this sequence of operation was earlier we given. This description
okay,
of operation was what exactly we implemented in the science, implemented in the site after the physically completed. This is the DOO is the fine. They are updating the DOO. They said that's it.
okay. But it's the
Okay, sir.
common terms is SOO,
So,
SOW
comment,
they use.
okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
scope of work
I
also.
try to, let's say that, okay, sir, okay.
We will see in detail anyway. So
Okay, sir, sure, sir,
so
okay, 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 sir, okay.
so
Sorry,
here
see,
BMS.
I was, just I was cutting carried away. Just want to, okay, so, okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, as Mr. Palani said, this hydrogen sensor is essential. What he was saying that,
Yeah, exactly,
so
sir.
you need to check that the specification is asking for the hydrogen sensor, and this is
Yeah,
placed in
exactly,
the
sir.
battery racks or
Yeah, it's okay,
the
yeah,
equivalent.
battery,
Yeah,
okay, sir,
and
okay, okay,
you
sir.
need to check that what is the level accepted level, and this
Yeah, okay,
programming
okay,
has to be
okay.
done by this. Okay,
Okay.
so so as you see that here, I mentioned also VOC. I think it comes under the VOC, or maybe it's a separate sensor
That's same, sir.
dedicated for the battery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
DOC only.
So
Okay, sir,
it
okay, okay,
comes to the
okay,
different mixture of gases levels in the VOC comes with all the different sulfite and different kind of gases. But maybe
okay, sir,
it's
okay.
part of the hydrogen gas also here, or if specifically for the battery room, you need to have the hydrogen level monitoring to ensure that any kind of fire or any kind of stuffs to be stopped
Okay, sir, okay,
prior to that. Okay.
okay,
And
okay,
you have a supervisory control data acquisition system is here, the place
okay,
to monitor and control. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the low smoke zero halogen is mandatory.
okay,
Okay, for the data
okay,
centers. Okay, when you are talking
okay.
about the cables, and integration
Okay.
also very important because when we are talking
Yeah,
about
crucial part. Sir.
because sometimes the access control failure, that information has to be passed here. Sometimes CCTV, some NVR's failure, then it should go there. So GRMS, you don't have here the role in data center.
Okay.
So CCTV also it's a very vital part here. So now the technology is developed in such a way that it comes with the AI system and yearly smoke detection as yearly smoke and fire detection level. That much improvement is there in the with artificial intelligence in the CCTV system. So again, you can go with on-prem and cloud-based solutions. When you go with the data centers, mostly I recommend to go with the cloud-based solutions and hybrid solutions. Hybrid solutions have the local storage as well as the cloud-based, the storage in other locations.
The other backup also. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
backup also there. So that will
Yeah.
be
Okay.
the initial investment cost will be higher, but return on investment ROI is definitely is
Long
there.
only be, yeah, long
Yeah,
only be more.
but
Okay.
because when you are like a square meter on the 10 square meter, maybe it's a million for that value of that place in the storage in the server
Yes, sir.
data center area. So that can
Okay, sir.
be saved and can be rented for some clients if you having the cloud-based solutions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you have essential things where you have to have identification, recognition, and detection level. So in the perimeter, you need to have the cameras with the detection level. So
Okay.
there must be a regulations in data centers derived by the consultant and the client. apart from
Yeah.
the local and international standards. When we talk about UAE, we have standards SIRA and now
Yeah, absolutely.
superseded by ADMCC. So now mostly people are complying with the ADMCC requirement throughout the UAE. So different
Yeah.
countries have different requirements to be
Yeah.
followed, type of
But
camera choosing, and
sir,
yeah, yeah.
just one question, sir. But in India, for because when I know when I was in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, the certification requirements will be there, right? You have to place the camera this side only, the common kind of
Correct,
field
correct.
facing camera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct,
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
India
But
also you might have in India also you might have the derived one.
Mentor, no, but not that like okay, okay, understand. Because when I asked here, they said no, like we doesn't go that regulation. We have some like they're comparing that and they are implementing based on the current project designers were prerequisite like that. But in a Gulf and all, we have a common prerequisite like this based on
Yeah,
this only we have to go. Okay, 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 sir, okay,
but there are
okay, sir.
international standards when if it's not derived by the standards locally, there are international standards will be
They can
followed.
implement that.
So
Okay, 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 sir,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay. This one,
So
okay,
some
okay,
European standards, ISO standards are there. Okay, some
okay,
physical
okay,
security information management system. There are a lot of standards there, which is from the British standard and
no, okay,
European
understand.
standards
Okay,
and
sir.
ISO standards. So based on
Okay.
that, only the consultant is actually deriving, coming up with
Yeah,
the
that's
requirements.
okay, understand. Okay. The source will be something like you mentioned, some common regulation will be there. Based on the regulation, they
Yeah,
like derive it and applicable wherever they're using, they're implementing accordingly. Okay,
yeah.
okay, understand.
Because in
Okay, okay,
UAE, it's UAE and Gulf countries, it's strictly they are following, and they are not also bringing by their own. They are
yeah,
following, referring the security industry's standards, and from there
okay,
they are abstracting and bringing to the ADMCC and SIRA requirements. They don't also,
okay, okay.
So the
Yeah, okay,
guy
understand.
who's making a SIRA
Uh,
regulations. He is from
yeah, okay,
UK. Okay, he is from UK.
okay, okay,
That guy,
yeah,
and
okay,
also the local representatives are there. So those people
okay.
actually have a committee and they come to the common understanding
Yeah,
and
terms
common
and
agreement
understanding.
and
Yeah,
agreements.
common terms and
Okay,
understanding. Okay, okay,
this will be
okay, okay.
floating then, like, yeah. So when there is a need is more than when there is a technology is developing, they are also asking like earlier it
Yeah,
was 1
understand.
megapixel and now they are asking
Yeah,
minimum 2 megapixel, and earlier they
okay,
were going with analog also, but now they are saying analog is they have a lot of difficulties and pros and cons are there, so they go with now IP based CCTV solutions. You
yeah,
understand?
okay, sir, okay, 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 okay,
They are
okay.
deriving accordingly. And when we are going for the data centers, you need to have redundancy. You need to have, you should not have
Backup.
NVR based
Okay,
solutions. You should have the
okay.
storage based. You see this NAS and network area storage and storage area network.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might you have to go with NAS and SAN, the latest technology. You cannot
Okay,
go
sir.
with DVR and NVR old technology for the data centers. Okay,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
NAS, SAN, and the cloud storage. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And you have monitoring on the racks, and the design is has to be followed. And the spare capacity also very vital in data centers.
Correct, correct.
And the
Yeah, okay.
redundancy, as in all the perspective, as you know, in the data centers, you need to consider redundancy and you need to consider the additional spare capacity. Okay, this is two is
Okay,
very
okay.
vital in all the systems, not only CCTV systems. Okay.
Okay,
As
sir.
I
Okay.
mentioned here, NAS and SAN is a vital part in the data centers, and you definitely not might, definitely should have redundancy in storage. Okay,
Yeah.
like let's say
Okay.
for you are considering the 30 days, 31 days storage for the regular storage server, and you might have a 7 days or 14 days storage for the redundancy level. Okay,
Okay, sir.
because data should not be missed. This is a very critical infrastructure, right? The data centers.
Yeah, okay, sir. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So you have solar based and hybrid power solutions also there in case if you are having there is no source of power, you might go with the solar based. You will have a PV panels, and with the
Okay.
PV panels, then you connect with the battery and the converter and you small UPS, and from there you
Okay.
feed the power to the. Okay, this is also very evolving because there are critical infrastructures. When we go for the planting area, some plant area, you don't have a power to feed from anywhere, so you have a solar based solutions, and you don't have trench or anything to have the fiber connectivity. So you are going with wireless connectivity or 4G
Yes, sir.
network. You got it.
Yes, sir.
So these are evolving. So now it's coming up. Now data is not passing
Absolutely.
through the cables. Data is passing
Yeah.
through the wireless antennas nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
for the critical infrastructures where
Okay.
the where there is a cable